The United Nations has called on the United States of America to reverse labeling of Yemen's Houthi rebels as terrorists. Top UN officials have warned that the labeling would push the country into a large-scale famine and chill peace efforts in the region. U.S. designated Yemen's Houthis a foreign terrorist organization last week. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo announced the move against the Iran-aligned Houthis, which will come into effect on the 19th of January. UN Yemen mediator Martin Griffiths, UN aid chief Mark Lowcock, and UN food chief David Beasley issued their warnings during a UN Security Council meeting on Yemen. UN food chief David Beasley said that this designation needs to be reassessed, reevaluated, and reversed.
In fact, I'm pleased to say that in 2020, the United States stepped up to the World Food Program with $3.75 billion worth of support. And I'm very grateful for that. But this designation, it needs to be reassessed, it needs to be reevaluated, and quite frankly, it needs to be reversed.
The United Nations has described Yemen as the world's largest humanitarian crisis, with 80% of the people in need of aid. The officials also raised the alarm on a massive shortfall in aid funding for Yemen. The designation freezes any US-related assets of the Houthis. It bans Americans from doing business with them and makes it a crime to provide support or resources to the movement. While the United Nations and aid groups help about a third of Yemen's 28 million people, commercial imports are key to ensuring millions more have access to food. UN aid chief Mark Lowcock has also warned that US decision would push Yemen into a famine on a scale that's not seen for nearly 40 years.
I am not questioning the intent of the US invocation of the FTO designation. I am answering three questions. First, what is the likely humanitarian impact? The answer is a large-scale famine on a scale that we have not seen for nearly 40 years. Second, would licenses and exemptions for aid agencies prevent that? The answer is no. Third, well, what would prevent it? A reversal of the decision.
Speaking at UNSC meet on Yemen, India's envoy T.S. Tirumurti highlighted the plight of Yemeni children and said that children suffering in Yemen should move the conscience of the world. The top diplomat assured that India will continue to provide medical and other assistance to those affected by this conflict.
The plight of millions of Yemenis facing inter alia severe food insecurity as well as children suffering malnourishment are immediate needs which should move the conscience of the world community. We need to make every effort. India will continue to provide medical and other assistance to those afflicted by the conflict.
Yemen is undergoing the worst famine, which is termed as the largest humanitarian crisis in the world by UNICEF. The decision has sparked fear among Yemenis of being further isolated from the global financial system. Severe inflation has put many basic goods out of reach. Foreign reserves have also dwindled. Many traders fear trade and commercial operations will be paralyzed in a country that imports 90% of its food. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.